Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. This is the 90 Degree Show brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. I'm your official Marching Podcast announcer, David Thompson, and here's your host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
Good evening and welcome to the 90 Degree Show. I'm your host, Joe Beard, and happy to be of service for you tonight. Today is October 20th, 2013, 5 o'clock on the West Coast and 8 o'clock on the East Coast. We appreciate all those listening live or listening in podcast form through Blog Talk Radio, our website, or through iTunes. At the end of the broadcast, if you decide you like the show, then we appreciate a donation to the network if you feel so in your heart, of course. Just simply go to themarchingpodcast.com and click on the donate button to help improve the show and help build our scholarship fund. So tonight, we are in week 8 of this season, and this weekend is the Great Battle of the Bay, the annual matchup for 2013 between Hampton University and Norfolk State University of the MEAC Conference. We will also talk Benedict College versus Clark Atlanta University. But before we get into Week 8, I want to announce our Week 7 featured matchup winner for the Circle City Classic, which this year was between Alcorn State University and Grambling State University. But before we announce the winner, let's hear from our beloved sponsors. Tonight's show is brought to you by Liquid Effects Photography, Block Band Music, Bandhead.org, Big Deal Fundraising, and HBCUnews.net. The next segment is brought to you by Liquid Effects Photography and Big Deal Fundraising. Let's take the time to hear from them now.
Attention high school directors and alumni. Does your band need to raise money to travel, buy instruments, or uniforms? Are you looking to raise money to help your band? Well, Big Deal Fundraising is rapidly becoming one of the largest distributors of fundraising products in the industry. Big Deal is based in New York City and ships anywhere in the United States, offering quality products, fast delivery, and innovative consultation that will help you meet your fundraising goals. Call today at 855-244-4430 or visit us at BigDealFundraisingUSA.com. Big Deal Fundraising, your fundraising partner for your band or music ensemble. Having an anniversary party, birthday party, or better yet, you're about to marry that special someone? Liquid Effects Photography is the perfect choice to immortalize all your most special moments. With 10 years of dependable professional service that can deliver from the conventional to the best in cutting-edge technology and creativity. Come experience the uniqueness of Liquid Effects Photography. We serve the entire upper Midwest and will travel further upon request. Come check us out at liquideffects.com. That's LIQUIDEFFEX.com. Or call us at 773-454-5556. That's 773-454-5556.
All right, we're back, and you're now listening to Benedict. Their song, this is called Purple and Gold from what I saw in the video. But that's Benedict from this year, one of the bands that we're going to be talking about tonight. You can call in and talk about Benedict or whatever band you were at this weekend at 718-664-6025, 718-664-6025. You can tweet us at Marching Podcast. And if you have a Blog Talk Radio account, and you're listening to the show live, you can join the chat room. And I see there's a couple of people in there now. And you can leave your comments about the show or anything about tonight. And it'll be a good show. So go ahead and relax and leave your comments or call in. And we'll go ahead and get started tonight. Thanks to our sponsors to help build our show, and help build our scholarship fund and allow us to broadcast during these peak hours. So let's go ahead and announce the winner of our Week 7 matchup, and that was the matchup for the Circle City Classic between Grambling State University and Alcorn State University. Thought it was a good show. We talked about it last weekend, and we went ahead and put it on the website and see what kind of results. We put it out on Twitter and had another good showing or another good report there. So we'll go ahead and add a little suspense here and read for the winner of Week 7 Marching Podcast People's Choice Awards between Grambling State and Alcorn State. And the winner here, with 55% of the vote, Grambling State University pulls out the win. So Grambling State, congratulations for being the Week 7 winner. We'll go ahead and tweet out to you guys, try to contact someone. But it's really cool that we got some good energies flowing about Grambling since all the news about them, since they're in the national spotlight right now. While we're on them, I'll just go ahead. I just want to say something about I really support the team and what they're doing, and those students out there. To the administrators out there, I know that you're frustrated, but I hope and pray that you guys use some ingenuity and figure out the best common goal, and I hope that this all gets worked out for you and the school. It speaks to the bigger issue of really that no one wants to go to black schools anymore. Not even our own kids. One thing about economics is that we can build a stronger community if every time we bring in $1 to our family and to our neighborhood, we make sure that everyone in our family touches that dollar before it goes out. Now, if education is power, imagine if we supported our own schools and our own programs. What we would produce more than just linebackers and point guards. So that's all I want to say on that. I hope that Grambling, the house of 11 national championships, when all of your Cam Newtons and all of your RG3s went to historically black colleges, and the real reason Happy Valley, Pennsylvania wanted to pass Eddie Robinson in that win total, and they recently got some of their punishment rescinded, by the way. I hope and pray that our people one day would get it. Then, we can see these stories of our people keeping their money in our communities and in our schools rather than seeing and reading about the broke stories. So I'll go ahead and end that discussion, and let's go ahead and move on to Week 8. Tonight we're going to talk about some great institutions. The outline for tonight will be first Benedict College versus Clark, Atlanta. And then we'll get into our feature matchup, Hampton versus Norfolk State. Now, both matchups that we picked this week did not happen. I talked to Tyrone from the 8 to 5 guys. We watch their film every week, but we watched their film this week in studying Benedict. And I believe Clark did not go. We talked to Rashad not too long ago. He won't be able to be on tonight. Shouts out to you, Rashad. And the Hampton alumni, he said that the Hampton needed to take a break from traveling. So I'm sure finances are coming into play here, even as we talk in the previous segment of what we just finished talking about. So for that, we still have the tape and great YouTube, so we can talk about these battles anyway. If you're at home listening, you're free to call in at any time at 718-664-6025. If you're listening, if you are either at the game or at a game worthy of discussion, please call in and tell us what's up. If you have a Blog Talk Radio account, and I'll just say hello to all the people in the chat room, you can join the chat room and become a part of the discussion there as well. You can listen live and leave your comments about the show there too. You can tweet us or email us at Marching Podcast and marchingpodcast@gmail.com. So let's go ahead and get into it. Just looking over my notes from what we're going to talk about tonight. Let's see here. This week, I want to talk. Let me get out some shout outs right quick before we get into the analysis. Shout out to Cherie Young, a very good friend. I told her that I was going to give her a mention today on the show. Our mothers were roommates at Spelman, and they've kept in touch all over these years, just like I'm sure a lot of you have kept in touch with your roommates. I've just interviewed mine and kept in contact with McFat. Anyway, moving forward, Cherie and I were born 4 days apart, and Cherie's birthday is actually the same birthday as my grandmother's. So Hampton's special to me because, she went there, and our sponsor, Rashad, we just finished talking about, he's alumni of the school. Love Hampton. On the Norfolk side, Paul A. Adams is the director there, which was one of my directors at Jackson State. Definitely put me through a lot of mental hazing games, but he definitely made me a better individual, stronger individual, other than just a better bandsman. And William Bethea, who was also the percussion instructor there. I believe that he's there at Norfolk State. Really good guy. I remember really young and exuberant guy, and I remember thinking like, wow, how old is he? When I was in school. But knew his thing, knew his work, and really pleased that, we had such a unbelievable assortment of directors. They're now at Norfolk. So two great directors, miss them. And, I remember when they left back in the day, we're happy to see them doing well and in the field. And our first matchup, we'll go ahead and get into Clark, Atlanta versus Benedict. And just like we said, Clark did not show up. Clark, though, is smaller than I thought, but had a really big sound. I saw them play Neck this year, and they have a really good complete sound, full supported sound. At times you hear the intonation issues, and when people, know all of the music, surprising power for their size and good energy in the stands. The tubas are the truth, and the middle brass, very good. Weak in the upper brass. If the upper brass was better, this would be the difference in the level of competition this band could contend with. Saw their halftime show from, September 27th, and I would like to see them drill like Smith or like what Livingstone does because of their size. But they did well on the drill. They did well with the drill that they picked, but they lost a lot of sound just because, they weren't facing forward and just because of their size. They marched well, but they could have been more precise because of the smaller numbers. When you looked at them from the tape, they're small, but they did well with, staying together. But I still feel that they could have been more precise in a lot of their movements because they were close enough to make the adjustments. And there wasn't that many of them. So it was slight, but still noticeable. And still even good when they stood still and played the steel features, and they play well together. So definitely shout out to Clark. And Benedict was bigger than I thought, and that I remember. I can't remember. I know we looked at them last year, and I can't remember if they were the same size from what I saw, but they were definitely bigger than what I remember. They had good volume and power. And not sure of the chords that they were playing though. Like on a lot of songs, they would surprise you with the sound, but then sometimes some of the chords or something would, kind of make you, squint your eyes like what is that? They're definitely hype and they'll keep your attention, but the directors or whoever's writing their music, I think it's the difference in this band. I don't think they play well together like a Savannah State or like Clark does or like a Livingstone or a band similar to them with the numbers, but they're strong and they have a lot of confidence and they're not scared of anybody. They look like they will go for the kill shot every time. I saw a tape of them from yesterday from the 8 to 5 guys. Shout out to you guys, marching8to5.com. And they march well, and they fill up the stadium with their sound. So, they're surprising when they come out there. And And on the drill, I thought that they did well on their drill. Not as precise on the formations, and they played a really good slow piece. I don't know what the name of the song is. I put in my notes here, "Show You Right," and that's whoa whoa. Oh man, I always get embarrassed about the do 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 do. They played that, and I really like that song. And I got kind of crunk on that one, but still some of the intonations, and they tried to add some dynamics, but they were good. But someone needs to still tighten the screws somewhere on the sound. They played Swoop, which almost brought tears to my eyes because I totally forgot about Swoop, and I thought only the Boom played it, but they played it and they played it well. They danced in a formation that was weird and that was hard to keep straight, like these step two, like diagonal formations. So, when they were dancing, they lost their formation a lot of times. And it seemed that their show lost energy toward the end. So I'm not really sure about this one. It's kind of close to call for the halftime show. I think in the stands, depending on the play calling and the book, of course, I would give it to Clark only because they sound better, and I still feel a more complete sound with the chords, and they're coming with some power. I think Benedict is going to be louder and they're going to be more powerful, but something about the notes that I'm hearing, something hurts them. Plus, Clark's neck is like super funky. Like Clark and Livingstone this year has got two crunk necks. I don't know if these necks, if they were playing them last year, but this year it was super tight. Shout out to the East Coast for the two hardest necks that I've heard this year. Clark's neck starts out with neck and then goes to In Vogue, and then into Skin I'm In. And I think it might go into another song, but it's super raw. On the field, I still would like to see the actual show of this to decide. The tapes I see of Clark is, they're crunk in the stands and their shows have some energy. Yesterday, Benedict, I think they kind of shut it down a little bit just because, Clark wasn't there. So it was really interesting to see if Benedict would have put more into that show yesterday, but I can't hold that against them. So I can't really say on the field because I would like to see this actual matchup happen to say who would win on the field. But in the stands, I have to slightly give it to Clark just because of, the difference in the sound. We're going to take another break and break down the Battle of the Bay, and I think that one of the 8 to 5 guys is there in the queue waiting to talk. So we'll talk about that, and we'll also bring in the next segment, which is brought to you by bandhead.org and Block Band Music. So let's go ahead and take the time to hear from them now.
What if there was a Facebook for bands? Wait a minute, there is. Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org is a social network for HBCU show bands. You can create your own profile and post videos, photos, and comments on bandhead.org. Need somewhere to post events, audition schedules, job postings? Check out bandhead.org. Are you recruiting for talent? Go to bandhead.org. And coming this fall, HBCUbands.com. Write that down, HBCUbands.com. Block Band is a minority-owned music business that you can think of as your assistant band director. We help grow your musicians with a great selection of traditional concert band music. Then we back up their performance with necessities like reeds, oil, drum heads, drumsticks, and mallets. Finally, we outfit your players in auxiliary and shoes, spats, and gloves that match our precise custom drills. Got band? If so, then Block Band's got you. Check blockbandmusic.com or call us at 919-698-2560. That's blockbandmusic.com, 919-698-2560.
Okay, we're back, and we're going to go ahead and bring our experts in. Let me see here. Tyrone, is that you? Hello, someone from the 313? I think this might be Troy. Troy, is that you?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
What's going on, CB? How you, man?
I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. We're listening to Clark come in from playing their NEC version of NEC, and we appreciate Troy being on tonight. 718-664-6025. This is the 90 Degree Show, brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. If you have a Blog Talk Radio account, you can join our chat room as well. Just go ahead and click on the link to listen live and scroll down to the bottom to join our chat room. So, Troy, man, I appreciate you being on the show tonight, man, so we can get into some of these bands. I first started to talk about this evening was Clark and Benedict. Now, Clark didn't show up, but have you ever seen Clark or Benedict, any tapes of any of these schools? Any of the two of those?
That's why I just called in. I was watching a bunch of footage from them trying to, get up to speed, being I couldn't see anything from this week. But I heard you talking about their NEC, and I don't really care for their NEC. I don't like the En Vogue part. The rhythm. It sounds real remedial to me.
Okay.
I don't like it. It doesn't flow to me.
That's what's up, man. But that's cool, though, man. That's cool. I wish there was more tape of them in the stands, and that was really, like the main thing that I could get from them, because I didn't really see anything from them. Benedict, though, was definitely on the web a lot. What did you think of Benedict?
I think they, of course, they got Clark in size by a lot.
Right.
Clark they weren't even block band. I think they were like 40-some members. But Benedict sounds real young. They sound like a big high school, like not a real good big high school either. You know, a lot of intonation problems. I heard a lot of wrong notes, especially coming out of the trumpet section. They looked fairly decent on the field at some points in the shows that I was seeing, but I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed at all.
Yeah, I was surprised, and I can't remember what I thought of them. I'm gonna have to look at the files that I did from them this year, but I was surprised because Benedict, you always hear Benedict is in trouble and Benedict this and that, but I was surprised to even see they had as much as they did. But I think that they're bigger than they were last year. So to have that was surprising, to even go out on the field with. But just like you said, man, they come with that loud power, but the notes or something, it just throws you off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that ruins
control.
it. Yeah, it definitely ruins it. So that's why I figured that Clark would probably get them in the stands. They still could probably throw a hype show together, so you never know. But Clark would sound better on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Clark being smaller, I guess they could kind of control their sound a little better, but their balance is off too, because I think their largest section I was seeing was like their tuba section. They had like 7 tubas. That was like the most they had of anything except percussion. So the balance
and they were
was
woofing
off.
too. Yeah, they were woofing too. So definitely, man, that's cool that you saw those. So we'll get into our feature matchup. If you're at home listening, 718-664-6025. You can join our chat room. If you have a Blog Talk Radio account, this is a 90 Degree Show brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. I'll read off what I thought of Hampton right quick. I saw Hampton on the field for their first home game, and I thought that they looked good, and at times they had some flashes of brilliance in some of their chords, some of like the phrasing that they were doing for some of the songs. I thought they were very uniform, like very erect, and I thought that they marched well together. I thought that they looked good as a whole, and I thought that they were just clean, good spacing, decent volume. They didn't have too much power. The trumpets weren't that strong. And then, the middle brass would step in and save the band sometimes. I thought the tubas were good, but not too much of a difference in volume like in on their show. Like, in their songs, it's like a straight volume the whole way through. Thought they had decent energy, but not anything like special I didn't see about this show. It was just like a just basic show. Some questionable chords, but overall a good sound. Not as much as, Benedict, but overall I thought they had a good sound. I heard them play Neck in the Stands, and the tubas were cool, and I liked the arrangement that they had with the trombones. They had like each section kind of do their little part, and I thought the trombone part was good, even though the trumpets ruined it when they came in because, they were like super weak. And I think they got some good musicians. They're writing, and I think there's some good coaching going on, good directors, and they got the resources, and they have that musical engineering program. I just don't think they have enough dogs in this band. You know what I mean? Not enough attitude, not enough of that swag. What did you think of Hampton, man?
I think like in typical MEAC fashion, they weren't anything. Nothing was offensively wrong with the band, but like you said, nothing was exciting either. From what I know about Hampton, I know a lot of kids that go to Hampton and have went to Hampton. They always have some decent musicians, but I don't think they have really an identity so much.
Oh, okay.
It's something that's missing. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're just going out there like, we're gonna do a drill, we're gonna do a show. We're going to do it to the best of our ability, but that's about it, It's nothing over-the-top exciting about it, And I watched, I think, 3 of their shows from this year, and nothing, just popped out of me. And I will say, they need trumpets. Their trumpet section is very weak.
Yeah, man, and you hit the nail on the head when you talked about, like, their own identity. I felt like that stiff, straight up and down look was a little bit of Norfolk. You know what I mean? And, we about to get into them, but even still, like, the identity, the force, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, like you said, nothing jumps out, I guess, where it's like, oh, man, Hampton band dude does the blah, 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 blah. Like, nothing like that. So moving on to Norfolk, CB, I saw them at the Labor Day Classic, and they had that similar look. That straight up and down, very uniform type of posture look, and I thought they looked good, but that's their thing. One thing I remember, and we tried to do this at Smith that I personally hated, was the trumpets having to have their elbows at that 90-degree, like your elbows would have to be like straight out, like how we were at Jackson State, we cranking. I mean, but they keep their elbows like parallel to the ground, and that used to hurt, man. So that's not really my thing either, but that's what they do. I like the intro that they had. It was like a drum corps type of beginning. It was different, and then they went straight into Before I Let Go and a drill. So I felt that was good, and you see confidence and pride. It's just the sound in there. They're definitely down, very weak and bright sound in the upper brass, like pinching sound in trumpets. You know what I mean? Numbers-wise, they look like Norfolk maybe a little bit smaller, but you still expect the sound to be there from the numbers that you see. And it just says that the players, I just don't think they have the players right now at Norfolk, or they're just not, people aren't going to Norfolk right now. The drum majors are annoying, and that says something, because I don't really look at the drum majors too much unless they're off the chain or they're really bad, like these guys were. Like and I can tell that they don't know all of their music, or they were getting tired during the show or something. Not much energy on the dance routine, or like a lack of confidence. Kind of boring, but with the hype show, I'm sure it could be like night and day, totally different. I heard them playing their song, The Ice Cream Man. I done picked up, that's their thing, and they got some screamers a little bit, but not enough people in the cash register, so, it doesn't have that power or that, that girth to it. And And the chords, the chords on the song weren't really all that deep. But when they sing, it sounds good, and I think we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, like bands start to sing, but they sound all right when they start to sing, and then when they come back in, you think that they about to start, they about to just, like, the crank, it's not there. They sing, and then they come back in, and they, it's not a change. So, what you think about Norfolk, man?
I definitely think Norfolk is down, like you said. The shows that I was watching from them, one thing that they did, the trumpet section has some moments. I do think, like you said, they're kind of thin, because it seems like they're mostly screamers in the trumpet section. And like you say, they don't have a foundation in the trumpet, in the upper brass. But they've always been known, well, to me, I've always respected their trumpet sections, so they kind of came with it. The tubas were decent. But one thing that kind of perplexed me was, like, at the end of a show I was watching, they just, like, do this thing where they run to a bunch on the sideline and then just, like, start cranking a song. And then I was looking at it first, and I'm like, what are they doing? It looks terrible because they're just, like, running around, bunching up. And I'm like, well, they're probably going to come with it, So they get in this tight formation and bunch up, and then it's just, like, nothing.
Right.
I was totally
We got some, exactly. We got a couple callers. Someone from the 240 area code. Caller, go ahead and give us your name and where you're calling from this evening.
Hi, it's Tyrone.
Tyrone, what's going on, man? Well, since you're here, hold on. Let me bring this other person in. Someone from the 678 area code. Caller from the 678. Give us your name and where you're calling from this evening.
David from Norcross, Georgia.
Hey, what's going on, David? How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Yeah, man. What you talking about this evening?
Well, I had a chance to check out the Livingstone Shaw University game, Shaw University's homecoming. Yeah, I was really impressed by both bands. Shaw University looked strong. They marched in, looked really good, had a good sound to them. The most improved award, I'd definitely say, would be Livingstone. Livingstone looked sharp. They had their uniforms on. Their precision on the field looked great. I just would like to see them march a little bit more. Being a former auxiliary person for the band, I used to videotape for Livingstone. I got paid for that, so I was really appreciative of it. And I really liked the way the band director has taken on that project of Livingstone College. And Livingstone, I definitely would believe, is probably the most slept on, but they're going to be a beast, I think, probably in about 3 more years. They're looking really good. So shout out to Livingstone on that.
Well, hey, man, I definitely agree. I know that we definitely talked about Livingstone, and we definitely pumped them up on our show. I know Troy definitely knows some of the folks there on the inside. We've been talking about our peers. We're getting old now and filling some of these band director positions. So, we definitely agree with you. Livingstone is doing well. I wish we could see that more for all the schools that are small like that. But I agree with you, man. So who do you think won between Livingstone and Shaw?
Well, I think on the field, as far as size, Livingstone, I think they probably got the nod on that. I like the excitement they brought to the crowd. I just wish that they had marched a little bit more. But in the stands, I think it was Shaw. But on the field, I think Livingstone won. They had it together. They looked really good.
Well, that's what's up, man. Hey, man, we really appreciate your call, man, and definitely hope you listen out every week, and you're welcome to call in every week. And hey, man, every time you at some type of event or saw something, man, definitely call in and let us know how it is, man. So we appreciate it, man.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for taking my call, and also enjoy your show. And I'm also a host on the Cat's Lair. We're a fitness radio podcast on the same network. So I like what you guys are doing, and continue to do an awesome job like you're doing. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Hey, man, thank you. And definitely hook us up with our information so we can check you out and, we start to follow you and support you as well, man.
Awesome. Y'all take care. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
All right.
718-664-6025. This is a 90 Degree Show brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. Thanks for listening. If you're listening live and have a Blog Talk Radio account, you can join our chat room. What's going on with you, Tyrone?
Nothing much, man. I'm hanging out.
I hear you, man.
Listening to the show, man. And you guys have been hitting everything on the nail with all the schools that you've been talking about thus far, especially with Norfolk. I've noticed over the years that ever since the former band director, Doc Sanford, left and Paul Adams took over, that there has been a decline in their sound. I'm not sure what's going on there. You hear a couple things in the wind about the struggles between administration and students, and administration and the band program, and it kind of hurts you to see that it's showing on the outside when they're performing from week to week. I hope they can get themselves together so we don't see it on the outside looking in. But you never know. I mean, it happens.
So you were at the Benedict Clark game this weekend?
Yes.
And what happened there? Oh, wow.
Being that it was Benedict's homecoming, I expected them to kind of turn it up a little bit, but not having that other competition across the field, I think that took away from them, and the referees calling them and saying that, hey, you guys can't play no more. We're going to start handing out 15-yard penalties if you're playing while the ball is in play. It really drained their morale. As far as the show goes, to me, it started off kind of strong, and then it just started dwindling down. And I'm not sure if there were lack of confidence there in their performance or not. I mean, the ballot, like you said, was pretty decent. The dancers, they were pretty well. Execution there. The dancer team is the part that I was just like, wow, what happened? I think the taps in transition between each song dragged it down and down and down. Something that I've noticed being on a band that used to do that, it does drag the morale if you just standing there for like 3 to 5 seconds waiting to transition into another song. I mean, you're going to lose the enthusiasm of the band and the crowd. Another thing that I noticed, that when they got to the dancer team, their announcer completely stopped saying anything for the rest of the show. So it's like there's nothing to set up what they're doing to get the crowd into it. And it's just like, man.
Wow, that's crazy.
It goes everything. It completely died for them. And then, the end of the show with I'm So Glad and you're not coming off field. The reason why they didn't come off field is because they went into the whole homecoming court and awards and different stuff that came in from donations and everything. So I think that kind of messed them up too.
Well, I'm glad that you were there to break it down because, in my analysis, that's what I said, that I felt that their energy got worse or, it went down as the show went on, and definitely that's very, very interesting, with the referees threatening the band, especially at, historically black college band, at someone's homecoming, they're going to pass out, 15-yard penalties for the band playing. That's huge. That's really something, man. So have you seen any film of Clark Tyrone?
I've seen a couple. As far as I've seen, they're not the Clark I'm used to seeing.
Wow, okay.
They're still good, but they're just not, that Clark that you used to seeing. They have the showmanship, they have the color and the power going with their playing. I mean, they still have a little bit of power there, but they just don't have that punch that they used to.
Okay.
Wow.
Who do you think? Who do you think won? I guess if they would play in the stands, and like we like the play calling and the morale and all that stuff. Who do you think will win in the stands, and who do you think will win on the field between the two?
In the stands, this is my second time. Well, I think third time seeing Benedict this year. Play calling, I may give it to them because they have some interesting songs in their book. But if I was to say overall, I would probably edge it over towards Clark because they're cleaner than Benedict is right now. As far as the field, I think Clark would definitely bring a lot more energy. It may be different. If Clark was there, Benedict may have turned it up a little bit more.
Right.
The show would have turned out way better than it did.
Yeah, man, that's huge. But that's the main thing. We appreciate the people calling in and letting us know what happened actually there, because morale, the weather, or just like Garrett, was talking, Garrett Edgerson at theedge1.com, he was saying that, he felt like, the stigma was in the air because Jackson State showed up late, and we couldn't see that, on the tape. So, just like Tyrone's bringing us tonight, with the refs and just with that, that's just something we noticed. We definitely can't hold it against them, but still, we breaking it down to, how Benedict sounds and, how Clark sounds. We're going to take one more commercial break, and I'll bring you guys back on so we can end up talking about the Battle of the Bay. Troy, we both talked about Hampton and we both talked about Norfolk. We want to get Tyrone's take, and then we're going to see, who we think will actually win between those bands when we come back. So we'll take one more last commercial break, and then we'll get into the Battle of the Bay when we return.
Do you know where to find scholarship information and other financial resources that are available to HBCU students? Are you up to date on the latest information in the HBCU world? If you answer no to any of these questions, then HBCU News with the Reeves is the place for you. We provide information to spark interest, success stories of graduates, and the latest on issues that you care about. So check out HBCU News with the Reeves, Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on blogtalkradio.com/marching podcast. Check out our website and point your browser toward hbcunews.net and join in on the calls and discussion today. Chopping It Up with the Marching Podcast is a podcast of one-on-one interviews with positive role models that have a connection through music and or education. We also give the listener an opportunity to call in and talk with our guests. We chop it up to give insight, information, inspiration, and advice in their endeavors. Chop it up with us every second Tuesday of the month at 9 p.m. Eastern. Chopping It Up, changing the world through positive interaction.
Okay, welcome back. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or a patron to the Marching Podcast, please contact the show and we'll give you the criteria so that we can start to pub your business using our platform. We'll play your commercial. We'll post information on our website, information on our blog, and through information through our social media. So contact us so we can help build your business. We'll go ahead and bring Troy and bring Tyrone back into the discussion so we can get into the Battle of the Bay. You guys are now listening to Hampton, and you have to excuse me, I do not know the name of the song, but it's not deep inside. I wish you could see. It's just the same old Mary. That was a remake. I don't know the original name of the song, but if you're out there listening and you do know the name, call in and let us know at 718-664-6025. Or if you have a Blog Talk Radio account, you can join our blog, and I'll ask the people there in the chat room, what's the name of that song? It's an old school song, and he actually said it. I believe the announcer said at the game, but I couldn't catch it. So we'll go ahead and get into the battle here. Troy, we talked about Hampton and we talked about Norfolk. Who do you think wins on the field, and who do you think wins in the stands?
On the field, I would probably give it to, I think I would say Hampton. In the stands, I would give it to Norfolk. Just Norfolk's style, I mean, they both have a similar style in terms of, like you said, that upright, real military-inspired, posture.
Right.
But Hampton is a little more relaxed with it. Norfolk, it's just not my thing. It's too, it's a little too stiff for me.
Right.
And I think Hampton probably executes their drills from what I've been seeing this year, maybe a little cleaner, and it's a little more appealing to the eye, in my opinion. In the stands, I'm going to probably give it to Norfolk because I think they have better arrangements, and I think they're executed a little better than Hampton's arrangements. Norfolk has a lot more exciting moments musically than Hampton does to me. I think pretty much everything Hampton does across the board is just, neat, clean, and, it is what it is. I think Norfolk can still bring some energy to their arrangements, and, so I'm going to give that edge to them.
Okay, that's what's up. I'll ask you because, we went through each analysis of both schools. What did you think of Hampton, Tyrone?
I'm just recently watched the show from the 22nd, or the 14th, rather. Hampton, they've knowing what they've been going through over the last few years, I think they have improved. The execution is much better. The energy is a lot higher than it has been in the past few years. As far as going head-to-head against Norfolk, I don't know, man, because Norfolk, they tend to bring that in-your-face quality to their performance, and that's because they pretty much stand there in the same spot to pretty much their whole drill. They don't do anything creative.
Right.
If you're looking for creativity as far as drills, I would give it to Hampton because they actually will drill. Where Norfolk, they'll move a few pieces around and sit there and blow at you and bark at you.
Yep.
I'm not a fan of it, although it does sound good when they do it correctly. But that's not what I'm looking for when it comes down to drills. The rest of the show, I'm pretty sure I would probably have to give it to Norfolk because they're a little more creative when it comes to dance routines and their dancers' song selection. where at Hampton they pretty much try to stick to what's on the radio.
Oh.
And what's on the radio may not work all the time for you in the show, because you got to think about the crowd. Some people may not know what you're playing.
Mhm. Yeah, because I know I'm like that myself. You know, I catch on to some trends, but some stuff I'm a little bit slow on. So I have to ask somebody. I think I heard that, or you know, but definitely, man. I think I agree with y'all. So Tyrone, you said like on the field, you think Hampton would probably win on the field, and you think who would you think will win in the stands?
Definitely Norfolk. Norfolk has a better book in the stands than Hampton, because of the arrangements that they stockpiled over the years. I mean, Norfolk is a band that you can't really sleep on in the stands because you don't know what they'll throw at you.
Mm-hmm.
They're always throwing curveballs out there, like the Norfolk Cookman battle back in 2011. I was surprised at some of the stuff that both bands were playing, and some of the stuff I never even heard Norfolk play ever, they decided to pull out. So I mean, you just never know with Norfolk.
Yeah, well, I definitely agree with y'all. You know, I'm not sure about the show as far as like on the field. You know, they were so similar to me. You know, like with that, like Troy said, like that military style. So you know, I would like to see, you know, I guess like with who would put together, you know, for the particular battle to say. But definitely, like I said, you know, I'm just not a fan of, you know, like even like, you know, the posture, that some of the things that Norfolk does in their drill, just wasn't a fan of it. And definitely Hampton seemed, I don't know, man, like a couple of flashes, not really a Jackson State, but just the same type of groove. Like it make even in the transitions, maybe in between things, and it maybe it's just because it's like the Hampton that got like the Hampton across the chest, you know, similar to Jackson State or something. Maybe that's what it is. But definitely with that, I guess that was more familiar to me than the Norfolk stuff. Definitely Norfolk, just like you said, you know, not too many patterns of motion. They'd stand and blow, but that sound, you know, was the difference. For the stands, man, that was. See, I had the exact same thing what y'all said as far as the arrangements and Mr. Adams and like the play calling for Norfolk, but I just think Hampton like sounds better. Necessarily sound. It's just the squeaking trumpets. I think that's what really kind of annoys me, and I think that they can do some things with that, but I still kind of would want to see it. But for all we know, and just like we know, we studying the tape and, you know, we doing all the analysis here, I have to just side with, as far as in the stands, with who I know, and that's Mr. Adams as far as the directorship, play calling in the fifth, and just, you know, just not knowing what Hampton is going to throw back. You know what I mean? I think it would be good with the dancing and showing energy because, you know, some tapes I did see at Hampton, it looks like they do like to do a lot of dancing in the stands, showing a lot of energy. So it would be interesting if they did something like that to get the crowd hype or get some type of momentum in the fifth to see if that would be interesting. But like I said, definitely for the director and the coaching, I have to side with Mr. Adams for that. So I guess that we all agree on those. So we're getting towards the end somewhat of the show. We did have one more sponsorship to play, but we're going to get that. We're going to get a couple of the commercials corrected. I want to give you guys some time to give your parting shots out right fast, but let me go ahead and see here. Yeah, okay, you know what? And we're doing all right with the time. Troy, I'll go ahead and give you the time, man. This is after our last commercial break here. You have anything that you're looking for coming up for, or anything from any other bands that you may have seen this week?
The only other thing I seen this week, when the caller called in talking about Shaw and Livingstone, I did catch some of that footage. As I told you before, we got a lot of kids from Detroit down there at Livingstone, and a couple of guys, that went to Shaw in years past. So I've seen a lot of those clips online and on Facebook and stuff. I was pretty, still pretty impressed with Livingstone and Shaw. They both were decent. They were both decent. They both had pretty high energy for the show. Of course Shaw did because it was their homecoming. And Livingstone, they came out with good energy. It's still a lot of stuff that both bands can clean up. I don't like Shaw's percussion section at all. I hate that percussion section. But besides that, the only other thing I seen from this week was some clips of the Boom at our homecoming show. I guess you can't call it a game because we didn't have a game. Thanks,
right.
So, that's about it.
Well, that's what's up. That's what's up, CB. Well, definitely, man. We appreciate you being on the show tonight, man. And I'll be hollering at you this week when we decide on what we're gonna throw out here next week. So I appreciate it, man. Okay. Have a good week, CB.
All right, CB.
All right, Tyrone, same thing, man. Anything that you got marching 8 to 5, got anything you guys got coming up on the radar, or any other bands that you may have seen this week that's worthy of your discussion?
I haven't really seen anyone else this week. As far as what I got up on the radar right now, looking at this South Carolina State game in a couple of weeks. Down in Savannah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
As well as we may have someone at the Cookman South Carolina State game this week here coming up. I think that's going to be a good matchup there in Daytona. Cookman is real solid this year, man. I mean, everything I've seen from them, they're too perfect. That's the only thing that I can say. Like, they're too perfect and predictable.
Ah, okay. Predictable.
The only time I couldn't calculate what they were going to do was when they played against Norfolk in 2011 in that fifth quarter. I was just like, wow, everything that they just came back at Norfolk, everything Norfolk threw at them, it excellent play call. I mean, song for song. That I love.
Right.
But when, first song you're going to play in the fifth quarter, Big Ballin'. And as soon as you strike up, it's Big Ballin'. That's when you know it's time to change your play calling. Because, I mean, that's not good when you're that predictable.
That's definitely something. That's another thing we can definitely start looking out for when bands are predictable. When particularly where a song or where they're gonna go, where the mood goes, they're probably gonna do this. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. But,
so that's cool, man. So that was it. That was it, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. I appreciate it, Tyrone, man. I always love when you on, man, and always going to be, looking out for Marching 8 to 5, another successful filming weekend. So appreciate you, man, and I'll be hollering at you this week, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate having us on, man.
All right, everyone. We're looking towards we're at the end of the show, and we're going to end it as far as the audio a little bit different today. We have been playing the clips in between the transition from the commercials coming back in. We're playing the clips of the bands that we talk about. And at the end, we're going to go ahead and give everyone an equal fair share. So, without ending the show and listening to me with the last audio clip we're going to play here is Norfolk. And I can't remember what particular song that Norfolk's. Oh, I believe it's the Ice Cream Man because, that's their thing. But I'll go ahead and end the show, and then I'll come in straight with the straight volume for the last audio clip for the show. So every band in every school is getting full time. and full volume there, so the people out there can listen and the band out there can feel good about themselves. So that's all the time we have for the show tonight. Check out the website and donate what's in your heart to themarchingpodcast.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Thanks to you for listening, and remember, the eye is a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. See you next time.